Well, Meghan Markle has given another interview to her favourite American magazine, it seems, Variety. She implied that the Queen's death and fallout has been complicated for Prince Harry, but says he remains ever optimistic.
Joining us with more on this is Royal and Showbiz reporter Kinsey Schofield. Morning to you, Kinsey. What has she said this time?
I mean, I'm telling you, too, that if there's a Guinness Book of World Records for contradictions, Harry and Meghan have got it in the bag. She says she's done with entertainment while talking to an entertainment publication. And here she says her guilty pleasures are Wordle and a glass of wine in bed, Jeopardy. She calls herself a nerdy mom and talks about her and Harry grabbing some In-N-Out burger, which is, all very relatable. What I will say on the positive side is this was a unique Meghan that we heard. There was no complaining. You can clearly tell she's trying to distance herself from specifically the new Netflix documentary and that infamous Cut interview. And even in those questions, she kind of skirts. She's really quick about it. Maybe I was too trusting. Oh, I don't have control over the Netflix interview. But for the most part, her tone was very positive and something that we typically don't hear from her.
Yeah, so Kinsey, this is a huge gear change that we're starting to see, aren't we? With, first of all, the brakes being put on the book, question marks about the content of their Netflix series, and now the tone that we're hearing from her in the interviews. It really feels as though their visit to the UK, the death of Her Majesty the Queen, has prompted a reset.
Absolutely. And I would say perhaps that was because they were in awe of how incredibly loved the British royal family truly is around the world. And they realized maybe it's not worth going up against the family. I think that they were shocked and surprised by the amount of attention that the Queen's death received. And it was primarily people that were devastated over it and wanted to celebrate her life. She was brief about the, mourning the Queen, although it happened to end up in the headline. She said she was grateful for the time she got to spend with her, but was very coy about that relationship. And it's like you said, she definitely utilized the word complicated when describing the entire scenario.
Kinsey, I think it was last time you and I were speaking that we talked about how the crown will be eventually coming for Meghan Markle, and she might do well to remember that. But apparently she has said that when and if an actor gets cast as her, they should call her. Interesting.
Isabel, first of all, there's a Lifetime movie where they have cast a Meghan Markle. So she's dropping the ball. We've seen some Meghan Markle already on our television screens. But what was so interesting, she says she wants whoever plays her to consider her softness, her playfulness, and her laughter. These are not words that we would ever use to describe her because, quite frankly, we've never seen that from her. This is obviously, like you said, a U-turn, and she's trying to rebrand herself.
Well, it might just work. Speaking of rebranding themselves, Judi Dench has waded into this whole Netflix row about the Crown, indeed, saying that they really just need to put a slate up at the beginning, saying this is fiction, it's not fact. Lots of calls for this. Are they going to do it?
They're not going to do it, but it wouldn't hurt them to. Yeah, Judi Dench saying cruelly unjust, inaccurate, and hurtful, a crude sensationalism. She says no one is a greater believer in artistic freedom than I, but this can't go unchallenged. I think that that's a really important line. And what she specifically says, and you and I have had this conversation a million times, is that here in America, overseas, those are the people that really don't grasp the reality that this is just fiction and this is dramatized. Nobody has any insight into these secret conversations inside these rooms, inside these walls. It's just very talented writers. And so I don't think Dame Judi is going to be the last that we hear from on this, because I do think it's critical that we hold Netflix and the Crown accountable, especially when these stories affect people that are alive today, like Prince Harry, like Prince William, and King Charles at this point.